Jacquees.
I mean, our tour stories, I've been on tour since I was like 19 or 20, so, well, really like 16. But, so it's like, it was everything you could ever imagine. I don't really have a specific tour story, but we do have a lot of moments where we was on tour and things like happened, that was major to the world. Like when we did I think it was the 4275 tour or the King of R&B tour. We was actually in LA the day that Kobe passed. We had just made it to LA, and LeBron was going to actually come to the show. But when everything happened with Kobe, it was a whole change of plans for everything. So I just will never forget that moment. I remember I wore the Kobe t-shirt because I couldn't find a jersey. The jerseys had sold out quick, and I couldn't find a jersey, so I went and got the Kobe t-shirt jersey that I wore on stage, and I just remember that moment. So that was like it was like a memorable moment on tour, like something that we'll never forget. And the fans, that was just one of the shows where it was tough to turn up, but it was like, you wanted to turn up in the celebration of just his life and everything. So I just remember that moment. Another tour story. Let me see. And I don't even know if this is a story, but another wild tour experience, which was just a fun experience, way different from how I was rocking, was when I went on tour with Tory Lanez. That was just a different tour. Tory like a rock star, so it was like the energy was different. I was used to going to crowds where it was like majority women in my shows, and going to the crowds with Tory, like it was a lot of guys and it was women too, but it was just lit. It felt like we was at a rock star concert. And just the whole experience of him jumping out in the crowd, and I remember he would try to get me to jump into the crowd. I would never crowd surf. I think I jumped in one crowd. I honestly think I jumped in one crowd. If we could find the footage, I think I jumped in one crowd. Halfway, though. But that was like a crazy experience just going on tour with bro and just seeing how, the different levels of like how it could be. It was super dope. One of my most memorable moments in my career to date will be, honestly, probably just dropping my first album. Like, that experience of dropping my first album, 4275, and honestly, being able to drop album after album, year after year. Whenever I really decide to drop an album, I'm always able. So that's a highlight for me, that I'm someone that gets to drop. And right now, this is a different type of experience and excitement for me in my career because Baby Making is my first #1 album. So it just feels, it feels good, Baby Making compares to my previous projects because it's honestly a sound that was kind of familiar like 2018 and 2017, kind of, from the production and the style of my singing. So it would be like comparable in that way, but as far as the production and the topics, it'll be totally different. This is like the grown Jacquees. This ain't even 21 with like 21 with no kids Jacquees. Like I'm 30, I got a kid, so this conversation it sounds like that. It's very mature and it's very like cut through-ish. You know what I mean? Like it's exactly what it's supposed to be. It's Baby Making. It's one of those albums that is made for baby making. And even if you're not making babies, like I tell everybody, it's still just some good music. And it's a familiar Jacquees sound that everybody loves. Well, my inspiration for my music, honestly, I paint pictures for myself. So I could be talking about a real life experience, or I could honestly be talking about something from someone else. Like I got a specific song with my cousin Issa. I have a song with Issa. It's called Always. And my verse, I was actually writing about him and his wife. You know what I'm saying? When I wrote the verse, I told him like, this for y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like I did this like thinking about y'all. Like, you feel me? So that was probably one of the only songs that I wrote like that. But then I've also like wrote songs in the perspective of thinking like I was one of my partners too. You know what I'm saying? Like thinking like how it'd be if I was them, like writing like from their world. You know what I mean? Well, the moment that I had believing I was the king of R&B, I always felt like I was a king. If you go listen to my old music, I'm always talking king stuff. Like even before I said I was king of R&B, I went back and listened. Like, dang, I just spoke this into existence like the rest of my life. I was doing a show one day, honestly, and I heard one of the radio announcers say it on the radio. He was like, man, that was Jacquees that just hit the stage. I had did a show, and I had another show somewhere. I honestly believe I was out here somewhere, and I had to leave here and go somewhere else. But I remember one of the guys like, man, that was Jacquees. If you got young kids, man, Jacquees like the king of R&B for this generation. And I was like, what? Y'all heard that? I got a video because Instagram store all your archives and stuff. I got to go find it. But I remember I was recording, and I was like, y'all heard that? Y'all heard that? Y'all heard he said I'm king of R&B. You feel what I'm saying? And I remember I went in the airport, And I just made a video on my phone. I was like, yeah, I'm the king of R&B for this generation, blah, blah, blah. And I had got tired of people overlooking me, too. I was going a lot of places in public, and I would have big records out and different things, but people would still act like they didn't know who I was. So it would be weird. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you pulling up on people that, you know, like, man, I got the biggest song out. Man, I know you know who I am, but then, yeah. You know what I'm saying? But then as soon as I act like I was king R&B, as soon as I said that, I had everybody's attention. So it worked. And I made people a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? They went on King of R&B tours, King's tours. They had TV shows. They did all type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Congrats to them. Thanks to me. Excluding myself, who I put as the ultimate king of R&B for me. I love Chris. You know what I'm saying? I rock with Chris. Like Chris was always like my biggest like inspiration. You know what I'm saying? He was always like my guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, so I would say Chris Brown. You know what I'm saying? Like for my generation. Like what I was on. Chris. Where do I see R&B? Like, how do I feel about the current state of R&B and where do I see it headed? I feel good about it. You know, I feel like as R&B artists, we ask this question so much, you know what I'm saying, about like, where is R&B and do it and that. And then there's always an R&B artist that's popping. You know what I'm saying? I feel like there's a lot of R&B artists that's doing their thing right now. So I feel like R&B is at a good state. I feel like it's always at a good state. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally. Like, I always feel like it's good. So R&B is great, if you ask me. Jacquees got the #1 R&B album. So it's doing great. You know, R&B, this is the best we ever done. Like, real talk. Hey, look, man, you already know who it is. It's the one and only Jacquees. Make sure you check out my interview with 24/7 HH. And make sure y'all go get Baby Making the #1 R&B album out right now. Yeah, the #1 R&B album out right now. By yours truly, Jacquees. Love y'all. Let's get it.